Okay, today I'm demonstrating the Piper Saratoga landing at Pittsfield Airport in Massachusetts, USA. And I'm going to use this as a demonstration to show what I've learned. I have flown the Piper 28. Now what I got here is got full flaps. Now this is a complex airplane that has retractable gear, IFR equipped. Okay, here we go. Got my power. Okay, now I'm going to do a touch and go. Retract my flaps. Got a decent runway here. I got 80 knots. So I'm just going to use a flaps takeoff. Okay, here we go. I've got to establish my climb, retract the gear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and around this airport. Now, I sit on a rubber ball about 3 feet in diameter, 2.5 feet. So that gives me a sense of motion here. I have a full throttle, and I have a switch panel. And I also have a good yoke and pedals. Okay, so I'm coming up on 2,000 feet. And I'm going to do a rollout to my left. I'm going to hold altitude. Now, a lot of people think that with a simulator you're always focused on the inside with the gauges. Not in the modern simulators, because I have a good modeling and I can look out the aircraft. And I've done flights in which I made a rule that I could not do what they call the external view, and that I actually could not put it on pause either. So I've done some simulated cross-country flights that way. I actually have flown out of this airport once upon a time, I think twice, doing some aerial photography. Now I got my airfield behind me, and just for the sake of a little variety here, I'm not going to land at the same airfield or air runway. I'm going to instead coming in on this other air strip there. Okay, so I have actually set the HSI horizontal situation indicator to the localizer, the ILS frequency, but I'm not going to be landing on that runway. So what I'm going to do basically is ignore that for now. So okay, I'm going to come in on base, doing a left base here. Okay, I'm going to start to descend, so I'm going to reduce my throttle. It's fuel injected, so I don't do any carb heat. I'm going to pitch up just a little bit to reduce my speed here so I can get it down below, further into the white arc there. Okay, and now I'm going to drop my gear with this little switch panel I have. I'm going to put on 2 nuts of flaps and just a tad bit of more power just to regain my little position here. Okay, now I'm going to tuck myself in. The beeper that's going off is a warning for that I got 2 flaps up, but I do have my gear on, so that's just a feature of this airplane. Okay, so now I'm a little low. I'm going to give myself some more power to hold myself up there. My speed is good. I got 90 knots coming in. Holding myself up with this extra power I got. Okay, I'm now in position better. Got to cross these trees. give myself a little more power just to make sure I clear those trees there. Okay, I'm going to drop it right in there. Okay, runway's made. Okay, there we go. Just runway 14, okay. Now, again, I'm going to do a touch and go, and it looks like I'm on this indicating a crosswind from my right, so I give myself a little bit of the aileron treatment there. And I am now off the ground again, and I retract my gear right away, make sure I got full power, retract all my flaps. Okay, so just keeping an eye on things there. Now I got 80 knots, so I'm going to reduce my pitch a little bit so I can get a little more speed, just kind of steady as she goes, give it a little climb, got 500 per minute climb. Now I'm going to turn around, and as we had indicated, I noticed that the wind was coming in from the south basically, so I'm going to pick the other runway. I'm going to come in toward the wind here, so I'm not going to get a lot of altitude here. I'm going to go up to 2,000 feet and position myself for the landing from the north into the south wind. And it looks like I got a pretty good wind coming in that way. Now, simulator, you can really learn a lot of stuff if you take it seriously. Okay, here we go. Okay, and reduce my power. Get the wide arc. Put the first flaps down in. I'm going to put my gear down in. And I'm going to just roll over and give myself all the flaps I can get. Now what I'm going to do is I have just reduced the throttle to idle, and I have the 80 knots. I want to try to get in, so I'm going to retract my flaps and retract my gear just to demonstrate a glide in. I still got 80 knots. Now, in a case like this, if I'm really out of fuel, then I would be landing in this field here because I have the glide slope. I got lights. And I got my 80 knots of glide speed here. And I know my gear is not down, so okay, I'm going to put my gear down now because I want to make sure I do that. I can land without flaps, but I can't land without gear. Okay, here we go. I'm going to land, okay, just almost made the runway. Just about, okay. There we go. There we go. Now, was that a good emergency landing? I think so. Okay.